In 2004, while serving overseas, then Captain Scott Using saw his newborn daughter live for the very first time on Fox and Friends.
You've gotten the chance to see some photos and probably a video of Bailey, but you've never gotten the chance to see her live, and so we wanted to give you that gift.
She is cute.
And there you go. Wouldn't you get? And what you couldn't see over there, through the mind of that Marine, he would carry the weight of leading 254 men through Ramadi, Iraq. Now, Major Using is sharing his harrowing experience in his brand new book, Echoing Ramadi, the first-hand story of U.S. Marines in Iraq's deadliest city, and joins us right now. You had 10 deployments over there, Major. First off, relive that moment. They just told you go to the hotel. You didn't know you were going to be on what was going to be happening, right?
Yeah, it wasn't an option. My boss said you were going to jack up some convoys, go over to the Ishtar Sheridan. Heard you on the headset, saw my daughter on a tiny little monitor, could barely make her out, and there she is. And she's 13 now.
And that was the first time you saw her,
That
right?
was the very first time I actually saw her, and then when I actually saw her, she was 5 months old.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's talking now. She's 13.
Yeah, she's talking now.
Yeah,
right, because I have a 14-year-old. I know exactly that time. So now that you're out, you've been out since 2013. Wow, she's 13 years old now.
Look at that beautiful girl.
Wow, she is beautiful. And she, I imagine, 8th grade, correct?
Yes, 8th grade. You got it.
So, Major, you've been out since 2013, and you want to write this book. But you say this book isn't about politics or war. This is about people.
It is. I think it's about the Marines that are in it. It's obviously my story, but I wrote Echoing Ramadi as a tribute to my Marines, and they were the whole reason I started this project. And it's their shared experiences, obviously the fighting, the friction, all those things that we experienced in such a dynamic environment as they were thrust into the chasm of war in Ramadi, which was the deadliest city in '06 during the surge. But it's really about the people and the feelings and the emotion, and that's what makes this book so different, is that I did 75 interviews with my Marines, the soldiers, the families, my amazing Gold Star families that I cannot thank enough. They are just remarkable people. I call them extraordinary because there's no other way to describe them.
Right.
But through that process, it was interesting that I understood a little bit more about myself. I understood a little bit more about my Marines. Some of the funny stories came out, some of the heartbreaking stories as well, but it was just a great process to be able to share their story.
What changes when you go through a life and death situation with a large group of people and you're responsible? What changes about a relationship?
Well, what's great about our relationship between the Marines and the families is the families were there to support us while we fought, and they still do today. But we have this remarkable chemistry, Brian, that, as you know, Marines have, that's inextricable. You just can't replace it.
And it's through generations, isn't it? Not only the people you fought with, but...
Yeah, it is. So these Marines were not the most elite group of Marines, but we had this remarkable chemistry. And to lead them under those types of conditions, you know, throughout writing the book and through age and experience, and you know this, you gain a little wisdom along the way, is that I never really saw how young they were. And look at those faces of those guys. They're 18, 20 years old in most cases, and I could never have been more proud of them than I was in those Marines in Echo Company. But I didn't see 20-year-old Brian. I saw Sergeant Kilmeade or Corporal Kilmeade, and that's who I was tasking on the battlefield, to do these superhuman acts every single day, day in and day out, in the face of great uncertainty, as these guys are surrounded by most certain danger. And they performed amazing every single time as we were fighting the enemy.
It's interesting, too, and they say that about war, that you got to adapt. They say you could have the best plan, but everything changes as soon as the first shots are fired. It really happened here. The invasion was perfect. The post-invasion wasn't, and you got the worst nightmare that happened. You had to have urban warfare, and you guys had to learn on the fly. In the beginning, it wasn't working, so you adapted, you changed, and you won. What is that like?
Well, I don't think there was ever a metric of success where they say, hey, Scott, did you win or lose? I get that question a lot. Whether...
Well, you could say that you suppressed the city.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if there were bad guys to kill, my Marines were absolutely effective. That's what they did, and that's a tough thing to do. In that picture you saw up there, I ordered my Marines that day before we were thrust into the city of Ramadi. I had to look at that sea of sturdy faces you just saw in that picture, and I had to order my men to kill, because I never wanted them to hesitate at that singular moment when they had to make that critical decision to squeeze the trigger on that rifle and kill the enemy, because that's what Marines do. They're trained and they take orders, and they performed phenomenally.
Right, and lastly, you've been 10 deployments, the first Persian Gulf War to the end. How have you changed?
I think I've gotten better. I look back, who was that 18-year-old Lance Corporal that fought in Desert Shield to the major that retired in 2013? I'm a better person, and it's through this amazing network of supporters that have gotten behind Echo and Ramadi, guys like Fox News being Ollie North, being West, Dale Dye, Major General Livingston, Medal of Honor recipient, and all the Marines and my families that have supported this great project. It's just really something different, and it's not just another war story, Brian. It's about the people, and that's what makes it so different.
And that's why every American should grab this story, because it's about us. Echo and Ramadi, the first-hand story of U.S. Marines in Iraq's deadliest city. Scott, thanks for all your service. Thanks for putting it down in black and white. And thanks for doing the hard work of doing the interviews.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
It's great to see you.